Speaking of hard things, hard watch, hard things to read, I got to tell you, man, I know people are taking notice, me more and more writing online about goofy podcasters and goofy websites. Mm-hmm. And, I at least show people why I don't know, Kev, man. I know we're getting older and I think it has zero to do with that. I think because of the way we are right now with the internet, that every single person, is on social media for the most part. And then you have people that honestly, their entire life has to do with work and social media. And social media, and their addiction to feel accepted, to be wanted, to get hits, to be noticed. Everybody's got a podcast. Everybody's got a blog. You got this person sitting in front of on their fucking couch. This person sitting in their fucking basement with a beautiful backdrop, sounding like a goof. You got this person fucking walking down the street, jogging and fucking talking about wrestling. You got this person in his fucking car drive, and the thing I keep saying over and over again is that I welcome anybody out there to do a show, do a website, do a podcast, but at least come off like you fucking know what you're talking about, or at least spend a little bit of time and effort as fucking what you're talking about. And I think the greatest example of it is what's been going down the last 5 days with the case of Dr. Amann suing CM Punk and Colt Cabana. Have you been following the testimony the last 5 days?
Yes, I've actually been following it. I've been listening, and I'll be honest, DT, listening to some other podcasts, but mostly like Jason Solomon's, the more reputable ones. Not just any goofy podcast, but the better ones. And listening to some wrestlers' opinions on it. I've been following it, and I've taken an invested interest because A, I'm a CM Punk fan, and B, I heard that Colt Cabana show. I must have listened to it in its entirety 3 times 4 years ago. So I know, I know the story.
Let me ask you this: since you listen to other podcasts, honestly, other than Soup, I haven't listened to nobody. And our own, obviously.
I listened to Jason yesterday, and thank you, Jason. He shouted out my birthday. He happens to do his pre-record on Sundays.
Okay. Of all the podcasts you've followed and websites you've followed as far as this case so far, what are people saying about how they feel this case is going to turn out?
I think they think CM Punk's going to win it because they are trying to make it like the doctor was a quack. But now I'm seeing then, with the CM Punk breaking down and stuff, I was listening to Booker T's opinion on it the other day. Then the thing that he had on his back supposedly was now on his ass. I mean, there's a lot of things that when I heard that podcast, to me, CM Punk either didn't recall it properly, was misleading Colt. I feel bad for Colt Cabana in this whole thing. I feel like, and also as a podcaster, I worry about what our culpability is. And we don't interview people, me and you, DT. We have our own thing. We don't have wrestlers on or whatever. But does this set a precedent for the future for podcasting, taking responsibility for what their guests say?
No.
Slander?
No, not at all. But just I'll explain why in a minute.
Okay.
But as far as the case, so all of these websites and podcasts you've followed so far, they feel, for the most part, that CM Punk is going to win this thing. And they also feel that the doctor is a quack. Is that,
from some of the more, like I said, I was.
Don't you have to name anybody, but I'm just saying.
But I was saying I was listening to the there were certain people, I guess, who were in the courtroom who were feeding.
They're just telling news. I'm saying, what are people feeling about? What are they saying about? I mean, again, shows aren't just reading what someone says from a courtroom. What are these podcasts saying as far as based on what they have read and the testimony they've seen and the reports? Where do they feel this case is going? Like, did they bring up anything specific that caught their eye or make them feel one way or another? And I'm saying this to prove point between our show and everybody else's in a moment.
Okay, well, I was like I said, listen, DT too, and I don't want to name anybody, but because I don't want to bury anybody. But there's some people who are super fanboys of CM Punk, and the doctor is wrong. And he should be stripped of his license.
Thank you.
By the way, that's not Jason. I'm not talking about Jason.
Listen, Kev, can I just interrupt you for a second? Yeah. This is the Don, Tony, and Kevin Castle show. This is not let's review and critique Jason Solomon.
No, I'm not talking about that.
I know you're not. I know that. But
I make sure I'm not misdirecting what I'm saying.
I'm saying that for the people out there, that when you give thoughts and I give thoughts that we're not targeting anyone. We're just saying an overall consensus.
No. And I was listening yesterday. Was actually the day that I was mostly listening because I had some free time yesterday till my friends came over. So during the day, I had different podcasts on. I was looking at different things about the previous few days of the court case. That's all.
Okay.
So I was mostly listening to it yesterday.
So basically, the people that you've heard and read about so far, their overall consensus, they think CM Punk's going to win, that the doctor's a quack, and some people are extreme fanboys of CM Punk.
Yeah, correct. And I think if there's going to be fairness, we have to. The doctor had some things on his side that I thought were in his favor, to be honest with you. Okay. And some of the when they were doing the interviewing each guy and Colt Cabana and stuff. And the other thing I came away with it is that Colt Cabana is kind of a victim of circumstance.
Okay, I'll tell you. I want everybody listening. Yeah, I'm going to sound like a little bit of a dick for a minute, but I'm going to back it up. Yeah. I'm going to explain to everybody now why our show is next to none when it comes to analyzing stuff. Okay. And my end result of what I'm going to say is an opinion, but I'm going to back it up with specifics. All right. I agree 100% with Kevin that Colt Cabana, I think he's going to be cleared. I think he was a victim of circumstance. I think him getting the attention, the hits, the downloads, he was more into that than anything else, and probably careless on his part. But I don't think that Colt really did anything to hurt this doctor. But I will say this. I think CM Punk has a problem. I think he's got a huge problem. All right. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if this court case ends in favor of the doctor and he's awarded $1 or a very small amount. And I'll tell you why. And for everyone out there, we are fans of CM Punk. I want to see him win the UFC match this week, which everybody seems to have forgotten about. Yeah. But I'm going to bring up specifics right now that every single one of you out there that has read a website, listened to a podcast, and you turn around and ask them, how the fuck did you miss this? How the fuck did you not see this? How the fuck did you not put two and two together? From what I read on that testimony for that guy that's in the courtroom that's writing all this stuff, CM Punk lied. And CM Punk lied on more than one occasion, and I'll tell you proof right now. And this is based on the transcript. The text messages. Now, I want everyone out there, this is quick, but I want everybody out there to listen to this very closely. And this is word for word from the transcripts that are online. Okay. Text messages between Colt Cabana and CM Punk. Colt Cabana says, I just got a physical letter from Dr. Amann. Cabana confirms in the court that CM Punk received a cease and desist as well. CM Punk immediately says back to Colt Cabana, poor guy, I almost feel bad I was mean. Colt Cabana in the courtroom refuses to confirm that CM Punk was talking about the doctor, and Colt Cabana tried to be slick to say, well, maybe CM Punk was talking about the entire medical staff. The problem is the text message that followed that was CM Punk saying, but fuck him. So him is not the medical team. That's first off, but that's not even where CM Punk fucked up. Okay. From what I read. All right. Colt Cabana, this is very important, everyone. Listen to this closely. Colt Cabana in court confirmed that CM Punk showed him his back, but he couldn't remember if it was 2013 or 2014. I repeat, Colt Cabana in testimony said CM Punk showed him his back. Colt Cabana confirmed in testimony that CM Punk's lump looked like a bubble or half an egg. And Colt Cabana also confirmed in court that CM Punk showed the lump to Colt Cabana. You know what came out today in CM Punk's testimony? Or it might have been, no, I think it was today. CM Punk admitted in court today that he didn't take photos of the lump. Excuse me. A lump that was so bad he didn't take photos of it. Okay, fine. He didn't take photos of it. CM Punk says he never told anyone in WWE about the lump except for the doctor. All right, remember those two things.
Right.
In the testimony also, CM Punk says that he never showed the lump to Colt Cabana. In the testimony today, he said he never showed the lump to Colt Cabana. He admits in court today he never showed the Colt Cabana said in testimony that he saw it. CM Punk said today that he never showed it to Colt Cabana. CM Punk said today he never told anyone in the WWE about the lump except for the doctor. However, there's text messages between him, Zack Ryder, and Kurt Hawkins on December 1st. And Zack Ryder asked CM Punk if he heard back from Kane yet because Kane had a bump near the area that CM Punk had. CM Punk is also caught on text messages telling Zack Ryder that his staff was the size of a golf ball. So the end result is that you have CM Punk December 1st, 2014. That day is the day that he did text messages with Colt, text messages with Zack Ryder, Kurt Hawkins, AJ Lee, and others, and he contradicted himself. In the court today, unless this person online made a major mistake and, just totally, fucked up what he wrote, CM Punk, in just my opinion, he got caught. And the text messages are going to be what's going to get him down. So for everybody out there, whoa, you're being a dick towards CM Punk. No, it's not about that. What I did was I read 5 days worth of transcript, and I didn't just read from a website like everybody else does because, again, none of these websites, none of these podcasts ever looked at this testimony and said, wait a minute. Didn't CM Punk say this? Didn't Colt Cabana say that? So you could go look for yourself. And here's the best part. And I brought this up earlier today. And yeah, this is me being an asshole, but it's me to prove a point. All right. Number one, people out there are saying, oh, Dr. Amann may lose his license because of HIPAA violations. Do you people out there even know what the Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act means? Did you even look up to see what happens if you do violate a HIPAA law? You have people with podcasts and websites writing, oh, this is an open and shut case. Dr. Amann's going to lose his license, this and that. And these very same websites, this is the most important thing of anything I'm saying right now about this. These same websites have articles right up titled CM Punk and Colt Cabana versus the WWE doctor lawsuit, or they wrote CM Punk and Colt Cabana versus Dr. Amann. Do you even fucking have a clue of what court cases mean? They're labeling it CM Punk and Colt Cabana versus the WWE doctor. Who the fuck is suing who? It's the doctor suing CM Punk and Colt Cabana. They're writing it. They don't even understand what a docket is, what a petitioner is. Yeah. It's the WWE doctor versus CM Punk and Colt Cabana. And I know some people out there going to be, well, it's only just a little twist on words. No, it fucking means everything. You get sued, the person who is filing the lawsuit is always the first person on the papers, on the docket, on the court, the petitioner. All right? Uh-huh. And these people, they don't have a fucking clue what they're looking at, what they're reading, because the doctor wrote something in the cease and desist because they think something was said to another. They don't have a fucking clue, Kev. They don't have a goddamn clue. And all of these websites, I sat back and I said nothing for the last 5 days because I wanted to see, and Perceptionated and the other idiots in the chat room, the reason why I'm power talking right now is because I did goddamn research and I'm trying to explain it to Kevin, all of you. You don't fucking like it, listen to another goddamn show. I'm sorry if I'm spending 5 minutes here to explain to you why, number one, CM Punk may have a problem, and number two, if I only talk 45 seconds, what is my host going to say? Yeah, you're right. I guess you're right. I mean, we're having a conversation, but I'm trying to explain all the goddamn research that I did for all of you.
Right. That was a bad impersonation.
And I say that with love. I mean, I don't mean to take the floor for 5 minutes. Of course, I'm going to give you all the time you want to respond to it.
I'm recovering from my drunken tirade last night.
I read this stuff, and how much credibility do you lose when you have a website or a podcast, and in your synopsis you write CM Punk versus and Colt Cabana versus WWE doctor lawsuit, and that's your do you even fucking understand how a lawsuit works? Do you even know who is suing who? If Dr. Amann in his wildest dreams thought that he would lose his license because of this, he would not have sued CM Punk and Colt Cabana in the first place. All right. And learn HIPAA laws a little bit and learn what actually could happen and not happen. Nothing is going to fucking happen to this doctor at all. He may get reprimanded. You really shouldn't have done that. And you think that WWE doesn't know by now what he did and didn't do, but yet he's still having practice? Maybe another company doesn't want to hire him. Hey, did you see how he handled the CM Punk thing? He revealed some things in a cease and desist. What the fuck you people talking about? What's wrong with you people?
Well, DT, the HIPAA thing is the Hippocratic Oath, right? And that's
no.
Isn't it that part of that?
HIPAA stands for the Health Insurance Portability and Accountability.
Oh, that's what's happening. But what about doctor-patient confidentiality? Because there was something with him talking to Chris Jericho about it?
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. That, people saw, oh, wait a minute, there's privacy. And
privacy, privacy, doctor-patient privilege.
I understand that. But people immediately saw that.
DT, maybe that could be some confusion because some people have not been sued, have not been in a court. And maybe don't know this kind of
Kev, if you're going to do a show.
No, there were people doing the show, but you're talking about the fans who are listening to us right
that's
now.
why, listen, if we were doing the show just to belittle other shows, we'd be out of business and it would be boring. But I say all this to educate everybody that doesn't know these things. And the reason why I'm bringing all this stuff up is because now everyone out there listening could understand what HIPAA actually is. What took place in the court that contradicts other things. And nothing I'm saying is made up. Go research it yourselves. But like I said, when you go on a website or a podcast and you're reading it the way that, people are writing it, you're of course going to have this one-sided opinion that, this doctor is fucked. And CM Punk, he's going to win this case and and the doctor's going to lose his license. And they don't even understand what the fuck they're talking about.
I think it's more rah-rahing behind CM Punk than really caring about what this doctor's actual credentials are, if he's a good doctor or not. He's going against one of their favorites, and he's the enemy. That's it. And you don't think a lot of people see it as that. It's not right. If you're going to report news, you got to be even keel. But for the most part, who wants the doctor to win in this, DT, who's a wrestling fan? Even if the doctor was slandered, but I understand. But everyone's kind of sliding it for their guy. You know what I mean? That this is what people do.
Yeah, but you know what? I mean, if you want to take CM Punk's side on it, fine. But at least, spend few minutes to understand what you're reading and actually research some things. And when you see people writing things like open and shut case and writing things that they obviously don't even have a fucking clue what they're talking about. And then, like I said, the transcript, CM Punk contradicts what he said on the podcast. CM Punk and his text messages contradict what Colt Cabana said in testimony. But not one person that you read or heard brought any of that up.
Yeah, I mean, it is a lot it's a lot of bullshit. And quite honestly, I'm surprised they didn't settle this, DT, and that it went to court. I'll be honest.
I wouldn't be surprised if it rules in the doctor's favor and he gets $1.
Why do you keep saying $1?
Well, because
he's suing for $1 million, right?
Right.
Punitive damages?
Well, you remember, I actually just talked about this last week when Chuck Austin sued the Rockers in WWF. And it's this week in history that that it happened. He originally sued for $3.8 million, and the court awarded him almost $27 million.
Yeah,
so if the court really wanted to, they can give the doctor whatever he wants. I just, from watching court cases over the years, sometimes a jury will feel that someone definitely was guilty of something, but they may feel that the damages or the repercussions were very, very minor. Has Dr. Amann lost work over this? Has he lost credibility over this?
Isn't that why he's suing in the first place?
Well,
because of mocking and losing business?
Right, but the thing is that I have not seen anything in court where he has proven that he has lost business over it. All right, yes, he is butthurt and insulted that the wrestling community feels that he's a quack, but but none of us are ever going to hire Dr. Amann, and none of us are ever going to use the doctor. So if the jury feels that CM Punk was wrong to say in what he did about the doctor, but they feel that the doctor really didn't suffer over it, they'll rule in favor of the doctor, and they may only give him $1.
Well, that's funny because if you saw in some of the transcripts, the doctor showed the nasty text messages he got from some of the wrestling community, Dr. Z-Pack and all that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, look, they could award him $100,000, $50,000, $1 million. They could award him $10 million. But, you know, the one thing that I haven't seen so far is any evidence, you know, because you have to prove that you have lost income and credibility in this. And just because a wrestling community
calling names,
think he's calling names. I mean, you know, that I don't think that's enough.
You're right, because that's true, DT. Like, unless literally he has patients who are from the wrestling community and he's now losing business, and he would have to show proof of that.
Yeah. And like I said, if he thought he was in danger of losing his license in any way, this lawsuit would have never been filed in the first place.
And, you know, the rumor was floated that WWE is backing the doctor, but there's no evidence of that.
No, there's no evidence of that. And even if they wanted to, they have every right to, if they felt that was the case. But, you know, I don't know, man. I felt bad for CM Punk. I really did. And, you know, I don't doubt that this man was sick. I don't doubt that it wasn't treated the way it should have been. I don't doubt any of that. But I also feel that, you know, I think his problem is what a lot of people do. Instead of just sticking with the facts and sticking with what happened, you exaggerate, you try to twist it, you try to make it come off as worse than what it is, and then you get caught. You know, like I said, he said that he didn't tell anyone else about this except for the doctor. But meanwhile, he's got text messages talking to other wrestlers about it. You know, they show up close-ups where you see his tights and you don't see any bulge in the back of it. So was it the size of a baseball? And I know a lot of people out there, when they're reading the testimony and the doctor's lawyer over and over again is like, what's the size of a baseball? What's the difference between a golf and a... I know it sounds annoying, but that's done to instill in the jury's brain that CM Punk grossly exaggerated what happened. And then CM Punk goes to a dermatologist. You know, you understand what I'm saying? So,
yeah, no, I understand.
So the case is not, the only reason why everybody and their mother is talking about it, including us, is because CM Punk was one of the biggest wrestlers in the last 15 years to come across WWE. And a lot of us would rather see him back in WWE. And because people miss him and people see the years going by, and the next thing you know, he's 40, the next thing you know, he's 45. And then all those matches that you were hoping you would get to see again or for the first time are going out the window. So when he's in the news, everybody and their mother wants to talk about it. I don't blame them. But just at least, you know, if you're going to report about it, or at least do some research before you start throwing out, you know, there, I said it. The doctor is going to lose his license. There, I said it. Are you sick and tired of seeing that on, like, social media?
Oh, yeah. I mean,
you heard it here. There, I said it.
I can't listen to everything.
Oh, my head wants to explode like fucking the movie Scanners when I see that shit.
How long do you think this is going to go on? Maybe for the rest of the week, and then they'll call it a day?
I think it's going to be, they're going to close out in a day or two. Honestly. I mean, there's really, from what I read, the only thing that's missing for the most part, there was one other thing too. There was one other thing that I noticed too. I got to mention this quick and then we'll move on. Unless you want to add anything to it. CM Punk said also that WWE did not answer numerous calls, numerous messages, and numerous text messages that he had contacted them about. And the thing that I found fascinating is that the lawyer from the doctor, they never confronted him about that. Why didn't they show that, okay, show us let's see the transcript of the text messages of you trying to contact WWE. Where are the emails of you trying to contact WWE? Where is your voicemails? And yeah, you may not have the messages, but you would have telephone records, especially if you called from a cell phone. And on the flip side, if you notice, WWE, I think CM Punk, I don't think ever provided evidence that he contacted WWE over and over and over again. Look, man, I'm sick. Look, man, I'm sick. Look, man, I'm sick. I don't see any of that stuff.
Yeah, you're right.
So that was something else that I noticed right off the bat. Like, it was an interesting thing that sort of just like was an oversight that nobody focused on. So,
well, the other thing was a couple of people saying how unfair it was because he has to concentrate on fighting this week. But again, the justice system doesn't really take that into account. It's going to happen. What's going to happen? It wasn't done intentionally.
No.
It just got scheduled that way. But it was delayed, as we know.
Sure.
The trial was a couple of days delayed. But you think it'll affect anything with ACDT? Built-in excuse if he gets knocked out in the first round?
Yeah.
You want to hear a podcast that's talking about that.
You could see it already. If he gets knocked out, well, you know what? CM Punk had so much on his mind. He was just emotionally crying in a courtroom. Come on. I mean, look, I felt bad for him. I'm not going to lie. But, you think this guy is a fucking fragile snowflake that because he cried in the courtroom, he's tormented for the rest of the week and he can't focus and he can't fucking fight? That's dumb. But if he gets knocked out in the first or second round, you're going to have people immediately reporting, well, the stress and the loss of sleep. And CM Punk is notorious for not sleeping already. Could you imagine a lack of sleep because of this court case and having to relive to have this cyst and the staph infection? I mean, that could bring anybody to their knees. I could see that shit already.
Yeah,
I hope he wins.
I hope he wins too. I don't want to see him get humiliated again. I mean, there's no good that comes from that because a lot of people are like, then he immediately goes back to wrestling. I don't know. I don't even know if he's going to come back to wrestling. I really don't know what this guy's thinking. I don't know what's in his head.
Yeah. Well,
if anybody can, look, everyone has come back at some point, but I want him to come back not to accept the Hall of Fame nomination and be old. I want him to come back and compete.
Yeah. Now, if I was him Saturday, I would be. I would look at Mike Jackson and pretend I was Dr. Amann. And you know what I mean? Like, just picture that guy, just picture that, the person you hate the most and just fucking snap. Of course there's rules, but, I hope he wins. I really do. I'm rooting for him. Yeah, so do I.
Me too.
The guy Mike Jackson comes off as a prick. I mean, CM Punk obviously comes off a prick as well, but, he's a prick that we like. I don't like Mike Jackson.
It's going to be interesting.
Yeah, it is. It is. But I also think I'd be shocked if it goes past 2 rounds.
Yeah.
So
we'll see what happens.